All right, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Gaming Dad Fujo podcast. This is episode number 32, being recorded September 26th, 2024. This is a place where we get to talk about all the different gaming and gaming related sci-fi movies, whatever is going on in our lives, all those topics that we used to talk about on all of the live streams when I was a professional Hearthstone player, which would also go and then get transferred into our daily YouTube videos. And instead of interrupting all of our interesting topics with gameplay of, oh my goodness, I hope I top deck a Doomsayer to go with this Frost Nova that we have right now. Otherwise, we're going to lose again. We're going to interrupt our topics with other topics. And on today's episode, we will be talking about, at the very least, Nintendo's lawsuit against Palworld creator Pocket Pair. We will be talking about the Skyrim Grandma, don't worry, she's just retiring, and the WWE Vince McMahon documentary out on Netflix right now. All those topics and so many more. Let's get started. He's got no time to play video games. He's the gaming dad, Fujo. Nailed it. All right, and as always, if you're watching on the YouTubes, you got to do that little reminder thing. You're watching on the YouTubes, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We're always looking for more Gaming Dad gaming suggestions. If you're listening in the podcast universe, give us a 5 out of 5, rate us 5 out of 5, all that good stuff. What have we been playing lately? Our Gaming Dad, we got Final Fantasy VI Game Boy Advance. I was watching Angry Video Game Nerd in the background of doing some stuff. And this past Christmas holiday season, he was talking about how he never beat Final Fantasy VI as a kid because this file got corrupted. And you know what? I realized I'd never beaten it either. Despite the fact that there is a Final Fantasy 3, we've talked about the North America 3 versus 6 thing. Everyone has. I got my Final Fantasy 3 poster framed, sitting right beside me in my basement here. Despite that, I've still never beaten the game. So I started it up, and then I figured, you know what else is on the Game Boy Advance? Pokemon Emerald. We're going to get into that because that's a great mobile little Gaming Dad type of game. You can play whenever you want, stop whenever you want. Also into some Brawl Stars for some reason, back into it. So that's been a bunch of fun stuff. That's all that's going on. We're not playing anything new. We talked about it, the new Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We know it's out. We're not going to get it. We're going to figure out what's going on with the next Switch before we figure out that. And still haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom. I could beat it at this point, but I'm just having too much fun. I maybe want to max out my hearts before I do it. I'm just having too much fun going around collecting stuff still in that game. I know it's year and a half old now, but I'm still enjoying it so much. Okay, let's get into some Gaming Dad Fujo topics. Okay, now this is going to be the last time we start with Concord. That was a game that got canceled by Sony. Cost them $300 million. We've talked about this many episodes in a row now. We mentioned how people were scrambling to do that trophy collecting. It was reported, I don't know if this is real, this was the report that was online, that there were only 69 players who earned platinum before the game went offline and we were no longer able to earn more trophies. Nice. Okay, let's move on to a real topic. September 22nd, that just happened. The Skyrim Grandma, Shirley Curley, announced that she's retiring from her YouTube channel. 88 years old. Started making Skyrim videos 9 years ago, 1.3 million subs. That's a significant amount of subs. Over 29 million total views. That's really, really solid. She got the gold YouTube play button sent to her, all that good stuff. She just makes, she goes and explores Skyrim and does her videos and does her stuff in a really nice 88-year-old type of style. I think it's really cool. Doing that. Looking forward to my eventual retirement where I can just be sitting around playing video games all day as well. So she had a 13-minute video titled "No More Gaming Videos." What was the quote that I wrote down here? "I'm old, I'm tired, and I just don't feel like doing much anymore." That's totally fine. She said, "I'm doing it for fun, and it isn't fun anymore." Yeah. So she said she's still going to do her vlogs. Those are vlogs, in case you weren't sure. She's going to talk about all the books she's reading. She's going to be writing some books as well. She has been for a while. Apparently, so 2018, this is really cool about her because she gained so much popularity as this, elderly lady who's playing Skyrim and posting content online. In 2018, after an online petition, Bethesda, the people who make Elder Scrolls, 3D scanned her, and they said they're going to put her into the next Elder Scrolls 6, which will eventually come out. She did also put the request out in 2022. Bethesda better hurry up. So I want to play it before I die. It's very dark. It's a very dark statement, but she's not wrong. Bethesda, you better step it up. Skyrim Grandma better get to play that game. I'll play it as well when it comes out at that point. But she's the one that we're most worried about. What are we gonna do? Oh, we got a bunch of Nintendo topics today. Actually, that's actually kind of funny. So on September 18th, there were the alleged leaked first images of the next Nintendo Switch console appeared online. Originally sourced from a Chinese social media site. They showed a larger 8-inch screen. They also shared some of the specs, 18 gigs of RAM compared to the 4 on the Switch, HDMI 2.1, 256 internal memory, as compared to 32 for the Switch. What else? There was some extra buttons, front-facing LEDs. However, there's a slightly larger screen. However, later in the day there ended up being some debate of the screen, because people are also kind of like looking at the people who manufacture the hardware of like, are they manufacturing OLEDs or LCDs? What's happening there? So there was a little bit of doubt by the afternoon. They also, so one of the peripheral makers has claimed that the Switch 2 is going to be 1080p handheld, and the dock, it'll also have this docking capability, will be 4K resolution. And the report that it's going to announce the next console for March 31st, 2025. Now, this is where things, there was a little bit of, uncertainty, like I said earlier in the day, after this came on the afternoon, I should say. However, look, Nintendo doesn't need to do much. If it ain't broke, don't switch it. Really. They need to make their next hardware way more powerful, which it sounds like, if these are true or close to true, that'll be good. Make it backwards compatible and put out a new Mario Kart, and it's going to sell millions on release. They're going to have a Mario to go with it. They're going to have some Zelda thing related, I'm sure. I'm still predicting that Nintendo Direct announcement soon. I guess there's still technically days left in September, but I might be wrong. It's going to be October. I'm calling it. So it definitely seems like by the midday after this came out, what did I say, on the 18th? The website that had originally posted it said, okay, yeah, these aren't necessarily real. Someone had 3D printed and done the mock-ups and stuff like this, but a different website, so VGC said they didn't. VGC said they did, but then Digital Foundry said that they were not real. So it's interesting. There's this, is this stuff real? Is it not real? Either way, we're excited. We know it's coming soon. We're going to stay really on top of that. And it's cool that we're getting these leaks, because these sort of things happened before the Switch as well. And then some of them ended up being true. So maybe these will be the ones that end up being true. Nintendo suing Pocket Pair, creators of Palworld, for copyright infringement. What happened? Pocket Pair's public response regarding the lawsuit. It's filed against their company for patent proceeding, investigations into claims of patent infringement. At this moment, we are unaware of the specific details we are accused of infringing upon, and we have been notified, and we have not been notified of such details. We're a small indie company based in Tokyo. Our goal is create fun games, continue to pursue this goal. And they go on, they're going to continue to strive to make Palworld the best that they can for all their fans. We know Palworld had massive success, all that stuff. Here's the thing. Nintendo's overly litigious nature stinks. We're definitely hoping that Pocket Pair can make it through. Me, personally, I'm hoping. It's so weird that they, and we get it. We always talk about these things when Nintendo and Sony, they're very, very protective of their IP. They have to be. And the thing is, a lot of times these Nintendo lawsuits get settled outside of court because either Nintendo's lawyers really have something rock solid that they're not going to lose, or they just have way more funding for their lawyers than this small indie company would. It's too bad, because it seemed like Palworld is a good, the great success story, right? We love seeing different companies different success stories. But yeah, these patent things are kind of funny, right? You can patent technically anything if the patent office will agree to it, but then defending it is a different issue, which Nintendo has all the power in the world to defend any of their potentially silly things. The only hope I think that Pocket Pair might have, they are partnered with Microsoft right now for their Xbox version. So maybe they can, help them out a little bit. And you know what? If nothing else, maybe this will really get Nintendo to pay attention to how complacent everyone has been with Pokemon, because we know, we've talked about this. The past few Pokemon games have not been excellent. I wanted to get them on the Switch, but I couldn't. How can you spend that much money for a game that's unoptimized? It doesn't have features. It releases features as DLC for paying more money as opposed to things that used to be in base game. You can't justify it, right? But it's just, it's weird that Nintendo, like I said, Nintendo and Sony, very litigious, but they're also so beloved simultaneously, while being kind of anti-consumer, while potentially destroying Pocket Pair here. What happened? Yeah, what was this funny example of something else that got patented? Namco patented gameplay during loading screens. Just have a little like silly, like tiny little mini game. That patent expired in 2015. Not too many big loading screens going on anymore. What's another? We're gonna move topics now. We've been a lot of Nintendo today, but that's fine. We love Nintendo. Marvel's Thunderbolts teaser trailer was released. Technically, it was a teaser trailer. It was, however, I haven't watched it, but I know that it's 3.5 minutes long. The full movie might as well just be the first 15 minutes of the full trailer might as well just be the first 15 minutes of the movie. By the sound of it, everyone seems to be liking the trailer. It seems cool to put all these kind of misfit group of people together. You know what? I'm optimistic about this. We're gonna watch this one. I'm looking forward to Captain America 4. That's gonna be cool. So overall optimistic, but 3.5 minute teaser trailer. That's really a teaser. Supposed to be 45 seconds and kind of not show a lot. But maybe I'm a little old school. Oh, space news! The 47-year-old space probe Voyager 1 just fired up its thrusters that it hasn't used in decades. So this is pretty cool. Voyager 1 lifted off into space September 5th, 1977. That's pretty old. And the thing is, no one expected it to operate this long. It's currently the furthest spacecraft from Earth, about 15 billion miles. That's 24 billion kilometers for the rest of us, in case anyone needs, real units. So it's actually outside of the heliosphere. That's the magnetic bubble from our sun, way beyond Pluto. We talked about Pluto an episode or two ago, so that's always fun. So what happened? There was a bunch of these fuel tubes in Voyager 1, and they slowly are getting clogged over time with the incredibly low temperatures. And the reason why they have these like multiple thrusters is Voyager 1 needs to be oriented in such a way that it can still communicate with Earth. So yeah, it's basically propulsion and then kind of this like trajectory type of thing, and they're just keeping it online. It did a flyby originally of Jupiter in 1979 and then Saturn in 1980. It's basically not changing its path anymore, but it needs to stay aligned. And Voyager 2 is also performing these same kind of corrections going on. Basically the fuel thrusters, there's this liquid, it doesn't matter, hydrogen, doesn't matter. It gets converted into gas and released. Basically, it's 40 really short puffs each day to kind of keep it oriented properly, because it's really hard to keep that very precise angle when you're, what do we say, 28 billion kilometers away, 24 billion kilometers away, giving it a little more credit. And it is a really cool program, right? From the 70s, and it's kind of disappointing there will never be a Voyager 3. Be cool to see something like race past it. The closest thing we have is New Horizons, also a deep space probe. It's going to probably last longer. But it won't catch up because Voyager 1 and 2 did this really cool slingshot move around Jupiter to pick up a lot of speed. But the alignment of the planets only happened every 175 years, so New Horizons wasn't able to get that cool slingshot move like Voyager 1 and 2 did. But there's a cool sci-fi novel in the Revelation book series that talks about this like space colony ship that is like going into, to colonize. But then, like, there's this ship that left, like, 100 years later that catches up to it because the technology has advanced so much that they can just, like, catch up so much faster. So it's kind of cool. We're going to kind of have to live with that sort of sci-fi until we have some major breakthroughs in our space propulsion technology. But we'll keep an eye on this. I love these deep space things. We're going to keep an eye on that, and who knows? Maybe we'll get somewhere. We'll get some cool space things going into deep space. I think in our lifetime for sure. We'll figure it out. Someone's going to figure it out. Okay. Next topic is going to combine some of our favorite things. We're combining wrestling, absolutely, with one of our favorite Guardians of the Galaxy, Dave Batista. Also fantastic wrestler. Super underrated, I think. Recently lost a lot of weight. He said that he's down I'm doing quotes, quote unquote, down to 240, which for his, I think he's like 6'6", so he's really big. He wrestled a lot at 280. He was probably around 280, 290 when he was Drax the Destroyer in his Guardians of the Galaxy roles. So that's a lot of, and that's, again, for him, he's very conscious of his diet. That's going to be a lot, all muscle that's come off of him. 240 at 6'6" is a huge athletic human. Just so we're clear. And he was on with Jimmy Kimmel. And due to fair use, I'm going to play this clip because I've created more content talking about the clip, and I'm going to talk more afterwards. This is fair use. I'm going to play, I think this is the first clip we're ever playing on the Gaming Dad Fujo podcast. Of course, it's going to be Dave Batista talking about getting into a fight with someone, and then we're going to talk about why some of the things that he says in this clip are extra funny for the wrestling fans in the crowd. I hope the volume I think the volume's going to work out very well on this. Let's give it a try.
I had some guy half my size one time. I was in a Fuddruckers. I was in a Fuddruckers, and I was there minding my own business. I was there, and I was with my girlfriend. He started talking about my girlfriend, and I turned around and I just said, "Dude, what's your problem?" And he jumped up in my face, and he said, "I don't care if you're big. I hit you 3 times before you hit me once." And he was so in my face and so aggressive, I pushed him. And he ran around like he was losing his mind. He was like, "Oh, no, no." And I'm wondering what this guy's doing. And he picks up a wet floor sign off the floor. And I'm thinking, no way this guy's going to hit me with a wet floor sign. No way he's going to do it. Crack. And he cracked me right in the head. He then cracked me in the head with a wet floor sign. Then he tackled me into the salad bar. The salad bar shattered. It was. So yes, the answer to your question. People actually, they pick fights with me. And I don't want to fight. I would rather hug it out. Have a conversation. Yeah. Let's go.
All right. That is, first of all, an excellent story. Told excellently by Dave Batista, talking about getting into fights. So we could obviously, first of all, the funny, very incredible to have him talk about Fuddruckers, which is just funny hearing him say it. And he's always obviously a great actor. Demonstrated that in Hollywood. I think, again, like I said, very underrated in wrestling what he did there. Short-lived career, I'll say relatively short. Not that it was a short-lived career, but relatively short-lived. But a lot of the little comments he made in there, and I cut it off a little early, where he talks about, he's like, yeah, I give him a little headlock. A couple of the comments he made about give him a little headlock, guy about half my size, are definitely very little nods that he made intentionally used. A lot of people in the wrestling community feel like he made intentionally very specific choice of words to reference him and CM Punk. They had some notable feuds, and they did a little skit back in 2016 with some nods to. So I think, as much as that's a funny story in and of itself, I think it's also really cool to have a couple, a little nod to CM Punk, which I think recently he's also mentioned that he really thinks CM Punk could make the transition into Hollywood as well. So that was pretty cool. But I really loved that interview because it was funny to begin with Batista, and then a couple hidden wrestling Easter egg references. Which is pretty cool. And I mean, when we talk about Batista, he did I honestly think he's fantastic. He's during his entrance to WrestleMania 35, he was walking into the ring and then kind of tripped. So what he did is he just got out, walked back around, walked in smoothly, no trip, and he knew that they would just edit out the trip on the DVD and anytime it gets replayed. So you have to find one of like the live streams of it to get the clip of him falling. But he's an absolute legend for just being like, I know they'll fix this for me. And he just gets out and does it properly. And I love that little anecdote about Batista. 2 other notes of actual wrestling stories that was borderline Hollywood Guardians of the Galaxy type talk. But 2 other wrestling stories. WWE just signed the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, and then also the Lucha Bros, Penta and Rey Fenix, which is cool that WWE's potentially looking to build up a tag division. But yeah, the Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin thing is they were basically ready to retire a couple years ago during COVID. They've been wrestling for over 20 years. They've inspired like a current generation of wrestlers, which is kind of cool for them to go, and they've never been in WWE before. Tons of TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, all this stuff. So it's good for them to get a really big, solid paycheck, at the end of their career. It's really, really cool. There's some jokes online like, oh, good, they can start at NXT and learn how to wrestle finally. Lots of like silly, funny jokes like that. But I think it's really cool to see them there and see them get to interact and have matches with people they never would have otherwise. Which I really, really like that idea. What else are we talking about? Monster Hunter Wilds. Release date is confirmed, February 28th, 2025. It's a global release for PC and PS5. And then they release the recommended minimum specs. It's not good. You're going to need a very good PC for recommended. The joke is that the ultra high specs, the hardware isn't even invented yet. It's just, they're using this technology called frame gen. And it's horrible for you. In a game like Monster Hunter, you need precise inputs to dodge and attack at exactly the right time. And frame gen is famously documented for having a little bit of input lag. So it's a horrible thing to be putting together. And you're going to be absolutely losing lives in Monster Hunter and getting killed by your big old monsters when you swear you hit the dodge button. And you probably did. But I think it's a really bad trend in gaming right now that we need to have the greatest graphics. Why? Nintendo is below. Mario doesn't have the greatest graphics. It does not, but it's you have a fun, interesting game, and Monster Hunter is a fun, interesting game that, guess what, on the Switch still looks pretty good. Monster Hunter Rise still looks pretty good. So they said it's going to be on this is going to be on the PS5. The PS5 Pro is going to barely be able to run this. It's going to chug at 30 FPS. I dream of getting this on the Switch next. I think it might be gone. My plan was very much to get this game on the Switch next. I'd get a Mario game. I might get the Mario Kart, and then I would get this. And I don't know. It's Nintendo doesn't really blow people away with their hardware, so I'm not too optimistic. And this is part of the reason I never got super intense into PC gaming, right? Like I played Hearthstone, I played WoW, I played the stuff growing up, but when I was a kid in the 90s. But like again, that didn't need the super intense hardware that it does now. And there's no way I'd keep up with any PC gaming now as a gaming dad with my hours and all that stuff. And the thing is, so Monster Hunter has Monster Hunter World online right now, but it's not even that much of a massive, like, visually of an upgrade, but it just needs a lot more hardware to get everything going. Monster Hunter doesn't need incredible, it needs good graphics, of course, you want to have a good looking game, but it just needs fluid gameplay, which again, Nintendo's are the master of. And I think we're going to end on a Nintendo topic. Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and so much Nintendo, was asked about AI, and he said Nintendo would rather go in a different direction, end quote, from AI. And that's pretty cool to hear, because we know a lot of AI is everywhere and people are always AI this, AI that. But Nintendo said no thanks, and part of it is their creativity. Obviously, like we said, Nintendo's so good at being creative and doing interesting, innovative things. But also, the laws say that things that get made with AI aren't actually owned by that company. So if they're going to go and do something cool, they're going to have a hard time putting a patent on that. Which, to be honest, is probably their legal team's point of view. But again, Shigeru Miyamoto, who is, if anything, is Mr. Creativity amongst, it seems like fantastic at what he does and being a president and helping run Nintendo and all that stuff. CEO, I don't know which position he has. He's in charge. It's just fantastic. Like it's to me, that's a very good sign, because we know a lot of companies have come out and said, we'll find ways to optimize efficiency with AI. Sure, but then if you're going to run into these legal issues, you just got to go the route of Nintendo and say, we're going to be creative and put out fantastic products. So I think that's a really cool little positive little story from Nintendo, which, to be honest, most of the Nintendo stories are, have to tie it all back to the litigious nature of Nintendo there at the end, but that's fine. And you know what? That's going to be it. This is going to be a nice quick episode. Whoa. Under 25 minutes. That's pretty good. Maybe we'll try and 25 to 30, I think, is a pretty good length episode for us. We are going to, and with the wrestling stuff. Oh my goodness, Fujo, you didn't mention the WWE Vince McMahon documentary. I meant to talk about it with the wrestling stuff. I made a note with Motor City Machine Guns. I haven't watched it all. It came out yesterday. How am I supposed to watch it all? Am I going to talk about 2 episodes? No, we're not going. We're going to talk about the whole thing all at once is what we're going to do. Overall, let's start talking about initial reaction. Police haven't kicked down any doors. Some people are like, this is going to be the... No, it's not. Vince McMahon's going to live out his life. It seems like generally people were pretty honest. By the sounds of it and from what I've seen, people are starting to look kind of bad. Which means a documentary like this is probably more authentic than not, which I think was always the fear when this documentary was originally proposed and we found out that it was going to be recorded. well, if you have, people involved with the documentary who it's about, they can kind of help spin it to make themselves look really good. And it seems like there's a lot of people not looking really good. So we're going to take it that it's probably more authentic and closer to reality of what happened than not. And like I said, well, let's do the full review. I know sometimes we do like one episode, two episodes. Let's not do it. And also, I've already kind of like moved to my outro now, which we're going to fully do now. We'll talk about that next time amongst a whole bunch of other fun gaming stuff. That is going to be it for me, everyone. I want to say thanks so much for making it this far. If you made it this far, hit the like button, hit that 5 out of 5 star rating. We are going to be back every 2 weeks. Like I said, we always do that. Everyone be safe out there. Be good to each other. Have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. And we will talk again sometime very, very soon. Bye-bye.